alongside me is DeRay, Sam, and Lisette, and today we're going to be talking about active listening, what active listening is, the positive effects of active listening, and the negative effects of active listening. We're also going to be stating some examples and practicing some exercises. So let's get started.
Well, have you ever finished explaining something and thought to yourself they completely missed the whole point?
Yes,
It happens all the
All the
time. I think that active listening is more than just listening. The word active within the name means to be engaged or participate.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of that, to be engaged and listening, I feel like body language is ties active listening all together. Like making eye contact, nodding your head, angling your body towards the speaker. It truly shows that you're engaged and you're actively listening to what they have to say.
I agree.
And also there's like a difference of hearing and listening, because basically so you could be talking to someone and they will literally miss the point, as you say, because they are not really paying attention. It just makes you feel undervalued and not really appreciated. Shows that they really lacked interest in your life.
Yeah, you definitely have to acknowledge that the words have been heard and also reflect feelings and meanings to show that you truly understand. It's definitely a communication tool with a lot of like skills with it, and there's a process to it as well. According to Emily Williamson's Center for Creator Leadership 2019 book, Active listening includes 6 core skills, which include paying attention, suspending judgment, reflecting, clarifying, summarizing, and also sharing. The skills work together, but it also just depends on the conversation or the situation with the other person or people. So one of those would be like paying attention. For example, as we stated in our definition, it would be things such as putting yourself in the mindset of understanding and respecting the other person. So this just means using positive body language, like eye contact, open posture, and just small non-verbal cues. So that just shows that you're actually present in the conversation and you're actually engaged.
Yeah, and then what you said about judging, I feel like that's your little voice. So I feel like having mental discipline is a big thing for active listening, because it just shuts down your little voice and it actually allows you to absorb what the speaker is saying and evaluate what they're saying, so you know how to respond and show that you're engaged in their conversation.
100%. Adding on to what you just mentioned, according to an Solano article by Julia Martins, published on May 24th of 2025, active listening is the practice of listening to understand what someone is saying. So just how you mentioned the little voice in your head, if you shut it off completely, you're able to comprehend and process really what the person is trying to communicate with you, and that way you're able to give a great response back.
Definitely. It includes just suspending your judgment. I feel like you have, even if your views are strong or you really have strong opinions, I feel like you should just pause and allow the person to vent and talk instead of just trying to jump in with things like solutions. It's really knowing how to be patient and knowing when to stay quiet, for sure.
Yeah, it's basically important to just remain empathetic and patient with that person, because you're basically putting yourself into their shoes, so you would understand how they're feeling and know what their thoughts might be on it. So it would help to respond to them.
I agree. And you could show empathy as well by reflecting, saying things such as what I'm hearing is, or let me make sure I understand. It's a really great way of showing active listening, because you're naming their feelings and you're showing that you're actually listening and understanding to what they're saying. You're not just hearing.
Yeah, I feel like showing that you're listening by asking questions and reflecting, it makes people want to go to you more because of that trust you build, and it also makes them want to be more honest with you, just because you're showing them that you're actually understanding what they're saying and you're engaging in their conversation. It makes them feel very comfortable.
I agree.
Adding to what you just mentioned about building trust, I believe like active listening is it's just a great essential, because it shows respect for others and it helps create like clear and more meaningful communication, so that way both parts of the party are engaged and just the conversation just flows. And
It's basically the starting point of like forming shapes in the effective professional world. The ramifications of poor listening, it can be quite large because you could be reprimanded for tasks that you didn't pay attention to by neglecting them because you didn't know the importance of it.
I feel like this happened a lot, like in high school. Like I noticed this a lot in high school. Like a lot of the kids that were like on their phone and not listening to the teacher's lecture, like the teachers had less respect for them because they weren't active listening to the teacher. And I feel like the students who actually asked questions and were participating and asking for help, the teachers actually had respect for them and actually helped them because they were listening and they were engaging in the lecture, other than the kids that were on their phones disrespecting the teacher and not listening.
I think that's also why a lot of teachers, when they're giving out their lectures, they love it when students ask questions because it shows that you're engaged. I feel like a lot of the times, us as the students, we don't like asking questions. We think it's annoying when the teacher expresses that they like that. But I think that's a way of just showing that you're actually engaged. You're asking open-minded questions, things like that. It's one of the skills of active listening, which is clarification and just clarifying.
Yeah, it makes the teacher feel appreciated, even though there are some students who are very shy in asking questions because they feel they might be judged by their classmates for not knowing something. So they just want to stay at that spotlight because they're just nervous and anxious, and they're like scared to just speak up.
And it's not just in school. It could be like in the work area. It could be like in sports. It could be even like in like when you're talking with your family. Like it could be anywhere. Just building the trust is what it is.
Yeah, it's like in interviews too. When you're at a job interview, when you ask questions for clarification, it shows the interviewer you actually care to understand what I'm saying and not just you're listening to what I'm giving you, like a description of the job or something
And
like
they're
that.
interested in the job.
Yeah, in the actual job.
Yeah, for me, when I first started doing interviews, I would always be so nervous, and I have a very quiet voice, and I learned that is what makes them feel like we're not like ready for it, like we're not serious about the job. So like as I continue doing interviews, I start getting better and better because it starts to become more natural.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I just think a point to remember for active listening is it involves more than just hearing. It's more of like really focusing on what the other person is saying and really trying to understand their message.
I agree. It's definitely a process with a lot of skills in it.
Yeah. So now that we understand what active listening is, let's now move on to the positive effects of active listening and the negative effects of not practicing active listening.
Yeah, so I think both negative and positive active listening can have a significant impact on a person's communication and relationships. That can be either your family, your friends, significant other, even in classroom settings or at a job.
Utilizing positive validation will lessen stress in professional or academic environments, allowing other aspects of performance to improve through it. Because basically, with all the stress and pressure they have and during academic and the business work, for me, I sometimes am not very well being under pressure, so I kind of make mistakes and would feel bad about it after.
I agree. On the other hand, though, like poor listening can have a lot of negative impacts. It could make the conversation that you're having with the person or the people feel less satisfying, and it could even make you feel, or you can present yourself as less engaging and less likable as well, and that can cause a lot of miscommunication as well as it can create conflict. If you have poor listening, it can create a lot of negative conflict. I have seen it with myself, having poor listening as well as other people. So there's definitely a lot of negative impacts with it, just as positive.
Adding to your statement, it can be like an emotional drain if you are poorly using your active listening skills, because it can burn out situation and then have emotional exhaustion within the other person that's trying to explain something, but if the other person is not active listening.
Definitely. I feel like when I'm venting to my friends about serious things,
Mm-hmm.
obviously I want all the attention, which includes being heard and listened to. And I feel like when they don't show characteristics of active listening, such as maintaining eye contact with me or asking me questions like, oh, so what I'm hearing is you're upset because of this, and that, I just feel not as engaged to vent anymore, or I feel as if they don't really care for me as well. So I feel like another negative impact of poor listening is that it can impact your relationships negatively as well, because with my friends or the certain friends that don't actively listen to me, I just feel like later down the line I don't really want to have a relationship with them anymore, because do you really care about my feelings? So it just goes to show that active listening can affect relationships as well, both positively and negatively.
It's especially hard speaking to someone who lacks emotional intelligence. It's just more draining, and it feels like you're just talking to a wall because they don't really care what you have to say, and that's just very hurtful. Like, for example, I have many examples where I feel like I'm not heard, and they dismiss my feelings and whatever I talk about it, and like I find serious, and it like really impacts my mental health.
Yeah. Do any of you guys feel like your relationships have become stronger due to active listening?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%. One example I have is with my sister. I feel like I could go to her for literally anything because I know she listens, and I could be honest with her because she acknowledges what I have to say. But like I could do that with anybody else, but people won't acknowledge what I have to say. So when I'm with my sister, we just have that level of trust and honesty where I know she's actively listening. So that's why I always go to her for everything.
And I think it strengthens relationships a lot, and it could take you really far. Even when you're first meeting somebody, if you're being heard by them, it automatically kind of gets you to want to talk to them more and get kind of like closer with them. One study published in the International Journal of Listening called "The Relative Effectiveness of Active Listening" by Harry, I believe, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but Weaver Jr. His colleagues actually tested this. So basically, they had people have first-time conversations where the listener either used active listening, they gave advice, or they just gave like simple responses like nodding or just brief responses like okay. The results did show that active listening had the strongest positive impact on how understood somebody felt. And these were just strangers talking to each other. So people who were actively listened to, they felt more validated than those people who just received advice or just these basic responses. So I feel like based off the results, that the simple responses had the most negative impact, and that those conversations were rated as less satisfying, whereas the listeners who were actually given, the listeners that gave out active listening, the people that were giving out like the most like basic responses were seen as less socially attractive. It wasn't that advice was bad itself, but people just preferred and felt more understood with active listening compared to just advice. So I feel like the overall study goes to show how powerful active listening can really be.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I think good active listening is such as showing empathy, giving you full attention, responding thoroughly and thoughtfully. It makes one feel heard and respected. According to a very minor article by Arklin Kunzik, published on November 20th of 2025, key active listening techniques can improve communication and relationships. This involves being present, showing interest, noticing nonverbal signs, and asking questions. It also involves reflecting back on the conversation and listening to understand. So what I got off of that was that how mentioned, like giving nonverbal signals really is a good impact on active listening, because it really shows that you really have the full attention of someone.
I
And,
agree.
and finding someone who is actually very good in active listening, it makes you want to talk with them for hours. Like, for example, I have a friend who I barely met her one time, and we just somehow clicked because we both spoke to each other freely with no judgment at all, and it just became natural to talk for hours with her. and like it just makes you understand like, wow, they just know you.
Yeah, I feel like we've all been through that. Like when we just like we're in a class with someone and all of a sudden we just click because you're in that level of comfort with each other because we're both demonstrating active listening. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you guys think it has any positive impacts, not just like one-on-one conversations, but in group communication as well, where you're talking with multiple people? Do you think the same thing kind of applies? Because I feel like when I'm being heard by everybody in a group, I feel more persuaded to also contribute rather than if I wasn't being heard, I just feel like I wouldn't share anything with the group. So I feel like that does create a lot of trust as well in like groups as well.
For me, I feel lifted, like I feel like in a better mood when I have a good conversation with someone. Like nothing can really just down my spirits after a good talk. And it's for somehow you just end up just thirsty after talking for hours. Like for me, I'm already thirsty, but I still feel like talking.
Yeah.
So that's just another thing.
I agree. You feel that safety within the group or like whoever it is you're speaking with. Like you feel like you have like a safe environment where you're able to freely talk and express yourself because it's really showing like, wow, they're really listening to me. Like they're really interested in what I have to say. Yeah. So you're able to really truly be yourself, and it deepens the emotional bond. So I feel like that's how you create great relationships.
I agree. There's a lot of positive and negative impacts when it comes to active listening and when you don't apply active listening.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And it never really matter with how long you know that person. Like you can barely meet them yesterday and still feel like you would have a good relationship for years to come. Compared to people who know each other since they were children, and they don't even have a healthy relationship because they don't know how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like I literally met my sister's roommates and they literally feel like cousins to me. Aww. Like I feel like I could talk to them about like literally anything. Like they really understand me. They literally feel like other sisters to me. They make me feel like in a different level of comfort where I could actually trust them, and we could like have like deep talks with like for hours, like, and it feels like they're my family.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, now let's move on to some exercises and examples of active listening. So, do you guys want to share any examples?
Before we start, I just want to say this one quote because I feel like kind of like gives a great example of how to improve your active listening and how it works. So according to Storylook article by Winfred Obuchi, published on March 3rd, 2025, every storyteller needs patience when listening to verbal stories. Patience is key to active listening. So I feel like going off with this segment, it's really a key to use patience when active listening. So
I agree. I feel like a lot of the times, including myself, I feel like we never give the speaker time to finish what they want to say. We always feel like just jumping in immediately. You think you know what they're going to say a lot of the times too, and sometimes you didn't even know what they were actually going to say. You just end up looking kind of like dumb, and it just it makes the conversation very awkward too. This is including in groups as well. I've seen it happen even more in groups, is when everybody has a lot of things to say, so when somebody's speaking, everybody feels the need to say something. That just goes to having patience, slowing down helps them explain their things clearly as well, and it also helps you understand the full message instead of just half of it or just part of it. So I feel like having a lot of patience is a very good way of improving your active listening. I feel like when people are actually listening to me and not jumping in and interrupting me, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves, it strengthens their active. I feel like it strengthens their active listening.
Yeah, for me, I would be embarrassed because I would be one of those interrupters by mistakes, and just so because I'm really impatient to get my point in as well, and I just completely missed the point because they were going on to a different direction, and I just feel embarrassed to even talk after that. So I kind of struggle, but I'm learning, It's mostly what's important about active listening is that you're still learning even as you get older.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I think some examples of how to improve your active listening. I think it's just to mentally take notes during the process, like of the conversation, so that way you're able to recall the important details, and you're truly listening by validating their feelings, so it feels more authentic when conversating.
I feel like that works really well as for me when I'm listening to my instructor in a lecture and I'm writing down what they're saying. It helps me memorize it. That's why they say writing it down helps a lot with memorization and stuff.
I agree. And then I do this a lot of times in class. Like when like we have to participate, I always think about what I'm gonna say instead of listening to what other people are saying to piggyback off of them. So I feel like something to help improve that is definitely having mental discipline, because that's my little voice telling me like, oh my god, what am I gonna say? How am I gonna say it? Does this sound right? Should I do this and this and that? Instead of actually evaluating what they're saying and actually making my own sentence with piggyback off of what they said.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think
so-
sorry, go.
So just like pause briefly and like allowing time to digest
Yeah.
what someone's saying, so that you understand their message, and that way you're able to craft a thoughtful response.
Yeah.
I agree. And then a class that I took at Solano called Introduction to Public Speaking, the professor in that class emphasized a lot how you need to remove distractions when you're listening to somebody. This includes things such as your phone. If you're multitasking, don't multitask. Just choose a quiet place, or just choose to really truthfully listen to that person and remove all distractions, because your brain cannot fully focus on two things at once. As much
Yeah.
as you want to make yourself believe that it's not possible, your brain cannot focus on two things at a time. And I just think it shows poor listening when it comes to communication. If you're on your phone and listening to somebody talk, because you're not truly active listening. So I feel like when you remove distractions, your brain has more space to think and reflect and actually understand. So I do agree with that professor. I do agree that it just makes the speaker feel more important that you're actually listening to them when there's no other distractions around that.
Even like having your phone like if it's just like set right here, it's still a distraction.
It is, yeah.
Like literally like the little things
I
are still a
can see
distraction.
myself always like side-eyeing my phone when I just have it on the
Even
table.
if you feel it like buzz,
Yeah.
it's so distracting.
It's a trigger for sure.
Yes,
It's a distraction for
that
sure.
little buzz in your pocket, like
Yeah.
you
And I'm
have
like,
it
oh,
in
I
your
have to
pocket.
check it.
Yeah.
Like it's such a bad habit, but like you literally like to focus on someone, you need to like.
And
zero
all my
distractions.
instructors have like said
Said
that,
that, yeah.
like your phone needs to be put completely away. It's a distraction. So
Like it would have to be out of sight or put away in your bag.
yeah.
Like,
So I
for-
feel like in any conversation, this is just
Yeah.
a practical strategy is to remove all distractions for sure.
Yeah.
Start off by removing your phone if you're not gonna be able to. Yeah.
Literally.
to
For me,
listen.
that wouldn't really be a problem. I just, against my will, I would accidentally zone out in a conversation, but I would be snapped back to reality when they're like asking for my opinion, and I begin to panic because I'm like, I'd be just piggybacking off what they said before I zoned out.
When people are giving you guys feedback, do you guys get like super defensive, or are you open to what they say?
I'm like in the middle because I don't say anything to them, but my little voice is saying something. Like, why are they saying this to me? Like, I don't know. Like when I get like feedback, I'm just like, I'm mad in the moment, but like I don't show it at all. I don't like blurt out stuff. I just say it in my head, and
Yeah.
it builds up in me. I don't know.
I feel like a good strategy to have with active listening is to be open with feedback. When you get super defensive, it just shuts down the communication a lot.
100%.
So definitely having an open mind to receiving feedback is a good thing to have.
Yeah, for me, I get more defensive because growing up, I had my former guardian had always negatively criticized me, so it kind of just makes me more defensive because I'm always thinking what someone says might be an insult for me. But I am now being more open and like just accepting that criticism. Cause it basically, if they're not even being insulting, they're just trying, like, pointing out bad flaws and like helping me improve better, and mostly about communication or academically.
That's a very good example. I think, Max, do you have an exercise for us?
Yes. So, eSpark, I got this from eSpark. They shared an exercise called Audio Story, where you play a story and the listeners have to summarize the story. But I'm gonna be saying a story, and then I'm gonna ask. It's a very detailed story, sort of very detailed. But I'm gonna share the story to my co-host, and I'm gonna ask a few questions to see if they were actually active listening. Okay. So, okay. Let's read the story. Okay. Oliver Nibs was not an ordinary mouse. For one thing, he wore a bright green hat, far too large for his tiny head. It had once belonged to a toy leprechaun in the gift shop at Disneyland, and Oliver had claimed it as treasure after a dramatic tug-of-war with the leprechaun. Oliver never went back to the gift shop. He lived beneath a popcorn cart on Main Street. One day, he was dragging a little piece of a turkey leg back to his home when all of a sudden, he saw the hatless leprechaun. Oliver ran as fast as he could when he dropped his bright green hat. He had to find a way to get his hat back without the leprechaun stealing it. Oliver noticed a team member with 17 Mickey Mouse balloons. He climbed on the team member and got on the blue balloon and chewed the string, when all of a sudden it released. Oliver was flying over his green hat and snatched it off the ground as soon as the leprechaun saw it. Oliver went back home happy to have his hat back. Alright, now time for the questions. Okay.
I feel like I got this because even though I was like looking down and playing around with my bracelet and everything, I could still hear you from the side. So
I wanted to
think
ask
would do the
questions.
best.
Okay, let's see. Okay, the first question is, how many balloons was the team member holding?
5.
I only know it was blue.
I think it was, I want to say 8 or 18.
Okay, how many balloons did you think? No.
Honestly, I heard 5, I'm sure, but I mostly just focused on the colors.
Okay, so you guys all got it wrong.
Oh, man. Wait, I was still focused on the intro, the green hat.
I wanted to ask, how is the hat bigger than the guy's head? Because leprechauns are small. So,
Just know the mouse was smaller.
Okay.
Okay.
So we all got it wrong?
You guys all got it wrong. The correct answer was 17 balloons.
Ooh, I was close.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Okay, my next question is, what was Oliver dragging to his home?
A rope.
I'm sorry. I was too busy wanting to ask questions, but I did notice. I just mostly focused on colors and what he was doing.
Just say a guess.
is it the balloons? No.
Nope.
No, it wasn't
The hat.
Nope.
He lost the hat.
Okay,
eventually.
wait, guess. What was he dragging to his home?
I feel so bad. A bag?
So you guys all got it wrong again. He was dragging a little piece of a turkey leg to eat for dinner.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my god.
Okay. Where does Oliver live?
The jungle?
The jungle? Why? Wait, are you guys like? Do you guys actually don't know the question? Like why?
We were not really thinking it would be that specific.
I was
Okay,
like
wait.
so hard trying to focus on what you were saying.
I thought it
So
was
did
like
I.
less detailed.
I
And,
think
like-
we failed this because we
I think it
didn't
was-
we didn't apply the strategies of.
Yeah.
For me, I think
Yeah.
it was too detailed.
For me, I was not paying attention. I was all over my computer and
Yeah.
everything. I feel like your little mind was getting in the way.
No, for me, I was confused on how the hat was bigger than the guy.
So she focused on
So
like
that
one
was
thing.
so that was your little voice.
She wasn't clarifying with you when you were reading the story. You
Like
were
I wanted to know,
asking
the leprechauns
questions.
are small.
Yeah.
They should have smaller heads. So how is it bigger than the person's
Okay,
head?
let me see if I have an easier question.
So you're like wandering around.
I was wandering around.
What color balloon did he jump on?
Blue.
Whoa!
I told you I was focusing on colors.
Okay, wait. Do you guys remember his last name?
The little mouse.
In general, I am terrible with last names.
His last name was Nibs.
Aw.
So we saw how you had your little voice blocking out the story because you were trying to ask like, what color was the balloon? What was this? What was that? So that was your little voice. And then DeRay was distracted by his phone and fidgeting. And then I don't know about you.
I think I was just trying to focus so hard on what you were saying that it just. Yeah.
Next time I won't have my phone out. I promise.
For me, I'll try to follow along.
Yeah, but that was a very detailed story.
Yeah.
All right, guys. There you have it for the Active Listening Podcast. My name is Maxine. Alongside me is DeRay, Sam, and Lisette. And we'll see you here again at the Solano College studio. Yay! Yay!
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting,
Whether you're commentating a live game
or hosting your own TV show,
For more information, contact Greg Poff. That's me at solano.edu.
we hope to see you here next semester. And remember,
It's more than just sports. It's an education.